What's good, everybody? I hope everybody's well. Make sure you hit the like button, all that kind of stuff. I'll probably make this for members only, but then maybe release it in a couple of weeks or so. We'll see how it goes. So I wanted to, kind of address this issue that goes on a lot of times about who hurt you and trauma responses and that kind of stuff, right? Which I definitely agree that people ought to be dealing with their past hurts, pains, traumas, and all that type of stuff, and don't take it out on the next person, male or female. But in this saga about dating over the age of 50, right? 45, 40, 40, 50, right? You've been through stuff. We know that. Actually, I did something about this. I can't remember if I can't find it. I must have deleted it, but I have to check through my trash, see if it's there. I gotta go digging through my trash, see if it's there, because I made a rant about this. Anyway, I wanted to address this idea about who hurt you and getting over past pains, traumas, and stuff like that. Wow. And the issue a lot of times, oftentimes, is getting married younger, staying that way, which I regret. Not staying that way. Really has a lot to deal and to do with. Well, let me put it like this. What it helps to alleviate is the pain and trauma that people suffer and have to deal with later on in life. When you're 45 and 50, right? You're going to meet someone, and they are going to have kids, been through past relationships, right? They got their proclivities, their habits. You really want to start all over again with that. Who wants to do that? You're gonna meet a whole new set of people, to get a whole new set of habits. How do they sleep? Do they snore? Right? Do they scratch their butt at the wrong time? All this other stuff that you gotta kind of filter through to really try to get to that place whether you want to be with this person for the long run or not. So this is the things that people are fighting through. And when it comes to the idea of marriages or lasting relationships and trauma and stuff, right? Again, you're dealing with people who've been through stuff. Now, after my divorce, right, I met this really nice lady, really nice lady. She had a good job, and she was cool. She was like, listen, she needs somebody who's on the come up. At this time, I had not completed my degree, but I was in school, and she's like, oh, yeah, this is good. You're trying to do something, whatever. You got a good source of income. She had been in my house. You got a house, this, that, and the other, right? All this different stuff. As a matter of fact, somebody just hit me up in my email talking about that. Like, and it was a dude. He's like, yo, what's up with you, man? You seem like you got everything that the ladies want. What's the issue? And he was saying, and then he proceeded to tell me, listen, I'm having issues too. What's going on? So this is what the channel has turned into. Is we're trying to figure this thing out, right? And listen, I don't know, but I don't like talking about my past relationships, but this one was so short, I will talk about it, right? So again, I told you about this situation. I met this girl. We had a good time. Listen, we had a good time, and she would literally call me. And I don't mean phone calls. I mean video chat 3 times a day. Minimum. Oh, I just had a few minute break. I just want to talk to you. Bring me food. I would make food. She'd come over, eat. Got her to eat healthier the way I was eating and stuff. Sex was good. It's important. Everything was good, and then she had ended up getting surgery. I go see her for surgery. It was like some emergency surgery or something like that, appendicitis or something emergency happened, and she had to get it like within a day or two or something like that. Can't remember what it was. So then I go see her. She didn't want me to see her at the hospital. She's like, oh, just come. So when she got home from the hospital, she gets home from the hospital. And it was like a 1-day surgery, so it was like no sense in doing that. She wasn't in there for like days or something like that. So So I go see her, and the next day when she gets home, I go see her. And we had, a good time. I bring her a gift. I think I brought her like a plant or something like that, right? And then, not long after that, like she calls me up. It's like, maybe this isn't for me. This, I'm like, what's up? We had a good time. Why would you do this? Well, you don't go to church. I was very religious. What I didn't tell you is, like, I was obviously very religious too at one time, right? You guys probably know that if you follow me. So I had actually helped her prepare sermons, getting this scripture to getting that scripture. I did that a lot of times. There's something on my screen here. I did that a lot of times, different stuff that she was doing. And we only saw each other maybe 3-4 months, something like that. So I'm like, what are you talking about? We did this, that, we're sleeping together. Why all of a sudden now? So, it was just like, what happened? So, and now, listen, that's what she said. I can't go off of anything else that she said, but everything else was good. The sex was good. She was arriving 2-3 times. So I don't know what it was. So some people maybe just want to be single. I don't know what it was, but I don't know, but what it was. It's not about that. But what I want to emphasize is those types of experiences make the person that you're dating. So the next person may not get that type of treatment that I was doing. Why would I show up? Why would I bring flowers? Why would I bring a plant? Why would I be thoughtful? Why would I answer the phones? Why, right? All this type of stuff, right? And so guys are running into, when you're guys who are older, I'm saying 45 and up, and you're 45 and up, your mother, granted she talked to you and had a good relationship with her, told you this is how you ought to treat a woman. Treat them like this. Maybe even your father or some fatherly figure. Do this, hold doors, this, that, and the other. The problem is that we're seeing this stuff not work in real life. And the girls now are saying it via the T app, via other social media platforms, are saying we rather have the toxic guy. So the guy who's doing this stuff, who's doing his thing, who's on his game, gets this type of treatment. And again, this is not just about me, but this is about what's going on as we all see this. This is why the manosphere and content is exploding, is because we're comparing notes and the issues that are going on within one sector, when I say sector, I mean city, right? This is going on in Denver. Wait a minute, this same thing's going on in Indianapolis. This same thing's going on in Hartford, in New Haven, in Bridgeport, and in New York, and in Tallahassee, and in Dallas. What the heck? So there's definitely been some type of cultural shift. Something is going on, and and we're all reacting to it. These are the responses. These are the reactions to it. Where guys are not chasing anymore. Guys are not. I would rather be alone, right? Guys would rather do something else or be somewhere else or whatever. Phrase it how you want. We're just checking out emotionally and sometimes physically from the dating market, not any other way. So the dating market has changed so much. The dating market has changed so much that it's hard to keep up as to what is going on. And you think that you could have something good. She might have somebody else. She doesn't appreciate the gifts, the coming out, doesn't appreciate the answering the phone calls, which to me is just absolutely, that is the worst phenomenon. Listen, I would check out just on the fact that you think it's okay just not to answer the phone or text back. If you text back too quick, then it's whatever. And again, when I say this type of stuff, the idea is comes in the comments. You're dating the wrong woman. You're dating the wrong type of woman. You're dating young. I'm telling you, these are girls with degrees. These are girls with degrees and some years behind them, more years behind them than are in front of them, that they're doing this type of foolishness. And it's baffling. It's baffling to me. And I think it's baffling to the vast majority of men who just want a simple life. That's what I made the videos about. I don't want all this garbage. Just bring me something simple and plain and regular, and and let's just go off into the sunset together with all this craziness and foolishness. And I need to constantly test you, gangster, and I need to know that you're this, and I need to know that you're that, and I need to know that you're constantly leaders. Therefore, I'm constantly prodding you and constantly picking, because I'm foolish, and because I'm a child, because I haven't matured past the age of 14, all this other type of stuff, right? And it's really unfortunate because guys, I think about this all the time. I listen to a lot of content, even what would be considered rage content. I was listening to something the other day, and these guys were raging about black women, and they really, really want them. I'm telling you, they really want them. And I think the same thing about black women who are constantly, particularly swirlers. Swirler is those who are exclusively dating white men. The reason they come into the men's spaces is because they really want them. I'm totally convinced of that. Otherwise, why would you come into a man's space? There's a lady I follow all the time on Instagram. She really, excuse me, not on Instagram. I was following her on Clubhouse. I since deleted that app. But she was always in black male spaces arguing with black dudes. Wait a minute, you got your white man. Why are you here arguing? You're here arguing because this is what you want. You're here arguing because this is what you want. This is what you want. There's a woman who talks about this, Shay Sharday. I put her screenshot up a number of times. Shay Sharday, YouTuber, constantly talks about this. I get calls about this. I get calls about, I was dating a white guy, this, then the other, or calls, emails and stuff, ladies telling me this. They really, really want that. So, part of what I'm trying to do is make sure that the guys are available. You have to be groomed, mentored, raised, matured into being an acceptable mate for these ladies with enough maturity and financial viability to meet their expectations. So, but I just want to talk about this, right? Because a question comes out: who hurt you? And if you're in your 40s, you've been through some type of trauma, you've been through child support, you've been through, ghosting, relationships, negativity, talked about, everything. You thought everything was going good, then all of a sudden, bam, cheating. All, men have been through the gambit, and we're just trying to figure this thing out. So the question is, who hurt you? That type of stuff. The story I told, just one, right, is not unique. Many guys who've been through similar stuff, or sometimes worse stuff, right? Women cheating on them, right? Women just waking up one day and just saying, "I'm not happy." I get those kind of calls all the time. Those types, not only calls, but I get those types of emails. Listen, I just wasn't satisfied, wasn't happy, this, that, and the other. But you think everything is okay, There was a video on Instagram. I'll never be able to find it. I didn't think to save it. But it was a guy who was, a little bit thinner. Yeah, it was a thin guy, or at least it looked like he was in shape. And his girlfriend was a little plump, and she was making some kind of salad or playing with some lettuce or something. And and then, the caption read something like, whenever whenever my man sees me, trying to lose weight, here he comes with a cheeseburger, essentially. He like pulls a cheeseburger out of his pocket because he liked her the way that he is. Men like the way that a man meets you, he hopes that you never change. It's such a crazy phenomenon, right? Because men hope that you never change. You are hospitable, you are nurturing, you are caring, you are kind, you are this weight, you dress this way, you like this type of music. I hope that's what I want. This is what I married. This is what, if I have kids, this is the way I want them to be just like you. Where a woman will look at a man and say, I want you to change. I want you to strive to go forward. I want you to keep pushing up. I want you to keep going. I want you, what's the next plan, right? What's the next plan? So it's really an interesting dynamic, but between the mating strategies that men and women employ. So I just want to drop this to try to answer the question as to who hurt you, and the situations that happen often, deal with or create the type of responses that you'll get in the future. So here's what I would advise. If you want something different from men, put out something different towards them. That means, don't just ghost and ice or go silent or radio silent or tell them off or whatever. You can't do that type of thing. If you're a mother, you got to raise them, with practicality, and be honest with them. Because, when you tell your son, okay, you treat this woman with dignity, respect, this, that, and the other, but you're dating Pookie, I mean, you're reinforcing that. And I got so many videos coming out about that. I know I'm never going to make any type of difference in the mating strategies that ladies have. I'm not going to make any. I know that. But what I am trying to do is try to help the men out there to recognize these different patterns and say, and number one, say it's not you. You cannot and should not second guess yourself. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be self-critical and analyze yourself and ask yourself, how did I talk to this person? How did I show up? How, was I violent? Was I drinking too much? Was I gambling too much? You definitely should be self-critiquing of yourself on a daily basis. But that doesn't mean that, if you tried your best, and if I look at my relationships and say, man, I really tried my best, then that's all you can go. That's all you can do, is all you can go on. It's just trying your best. Recognize when you fail, recognize when you mess up, recognize those things. But at the same time, understand that, changes and choices need to be made for the future to be the best version of yourself. So the question is, who hurt you? It's definitely people in your past. Don't take it on the next person in the next relationship. Learn from it, grow from it. And listen, that was an issue with me, right? Because I'm not gonna buy people plants and flowers and show up and answer the phone every time you call and we're trying to build something. I'm not gonna do that. Now, obviously, if I had something going on, I'm not just gonna drop everything. Not just gonna drop everything to answer the phone. I'm not saying I was living like that. I'm not saying that. But if I work from home, so she calls, oh, what's up, So I just want to drop this real quick. Let me know your thoughts and your opinions, right? So we got to stop hurting each other, and we got to give some real feasible, actionable advice. And I don't know if that's, and it's become so messed up, and women don't like that it's messed up, because guys are checking out because they're saying, the guys are saying the juice isn't worth the squeeze. The women are saying, how come the guys aren't talking to us, approaching us, wanting to pay for dates? How come they want to show more feminine energy by going 50-50 and all this type of stuff? It's because the ladies, you've shown your hand. You've shown your hand. You've shown your hand when you tell a man that you have a friends with benefits. You show your hand when you. I'm not saying a guy should answer this. The guy should ask this. I'm not saying they should, but if a guy does ask you and you say your body count's none of your business, which it is, it really kind of is. I'm not disagreeing with that, but you're showing your hand, right? You're showing your hand when you're on your T app. Women out here are showing their hand, and guys are saying, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to pay for dates, and you're seeing other people. I'm not going to put in all this time, effort, and energy, and you don't do that. And as my man Tony said in the video that we played before, or the live we did, the reason that the guy who has to do all this, and I've always thought this way. I've always thought, if I got to do all this romance stuff, flowers and chocolates and this and that all the time, right? I couldn't articulate it, but there was something. I always thought there was something off. But the red pill space, manosphere space, is really helping to bring these concepts together and say, this woman doesn't like you. If she'll give it to Pookie Ray, or she'll drive for 3 hours to go sit with the dude who's in jail and marry that dude and put money on his books, who she's got to put all this effort and time into. And by the way, again, these aren't just Pookie women. These are degreed women who are doing this as well, as I've seen with my own eyes, right? And the good guy, the dude who's doing everything, is got to do all this other stuff. She don't like you like that. She is led by her emotions, led by her atavistic, animalistic impulses, and this is what we're doing. So men are now saying, we're not going to play that game. You want to see me? You got to pay 50%. You want to see me? Then you got to call me. You want to see me? You got to approach me. I'm not saying it's okay, particularly from a masculine frame point of view. I'm not saying any of that's okay, but but I am saying with my analytical brain, I understand that 100%. I understand 100%. So you want to ask who hurt me? Not me. But although I did tell a story, I just try to give you, what is going on out here. What is going on out here? So, any thoughts and your opinions, hit me in the comment section. Much love and peace.